Stick around in this video because I'm going to be doing a massive giveaway. Hey Spuds, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. First one on the channel, I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here. And today we're in for a treat. Not really. Today is another installment of Bad Women's Anatomy. This is all of the weird misogynistic stuff that people say about women. Now, as we very much recognize on this channel, and as is fact of the universe, not all women are the same. Trans women are women, cis women are women, and not all women have the same anatomy, regardless of whether they're cis or trans. And a lot of the Bad Women's Anatomy stuff is very much specified on anatomy, but it's geared towards people because they are women. So really what this is misogyny and unrealistic expectations for women and all of this lovely, wonderful, awful stuff that we're going to look at together right now. And there is a banana in the background staring into your soul. I don't know why I keep putting it in videos. It's creepy. There's nothing wrong with preferring women in their prime, which is typically around 17 to 22. 23 at the latest. 17 isn't even an adult. Beyond 25, they become infertile. 85% of them have early stages of schizophrenia and they have zero sex drive. What is wrong with men? No. There is too much wrong. I don't even know where to start. Firstly, that is a very, very low age range. Knows nothing of fertility. It's not until 30 that if we're talking about like egg reserves and stuff, they start to drop after 30. But even then, not infertile at all by any means. 85% of them have early stages of schizophrenia and zero sex drive. This just sounds like somebody plucking random made up stuff out of the air to excuse why they want to date inappropriately young women. Just saying. And I just want to take a little break from the Bad Women's Anatomy to talk to you about something that is very good for your anatomy and say thank you to today's video sponsor, Balasa. Remember the giveaway I talked about at the beginning of the video? Well, I'm here to tell you more details.
Hello?
Yes, I'm getting to it. One moment. Sorry about that. Balasa is a by women company for all things sexual wellness with a range of toys to fit every need, including the rose.
Not that rose.
Yes, not that rose. No, this rose.
I'm a viral TikTok sensation and don't I look pretty as a flower?
The rose has 10 different modes and fits very nicely in the palm of your hand,
Yeah, I do.
giving you complete control of your pleasure, as you should have. Balasa are on a mission to help everyone embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And what better way to do that than with a toy that works for all bodies? Hold on, Demi Wand, I can't hear you. Let's just pop on the subtitles. And if you hadn't guessed it, the Demi Wand is also whisper quiet with its innovative design. It also has a flexible neck allowing you to get just the right angle and pressure that you want. And for when it's not in use, it comes in a very cute charging case. If you want to be in with a chance at the giveaway, then go click the link in my description box. And everyone 18 plus who signs up will get a free rose suction toy with their order.
That's right.
Thank you for listening. Now back to the Bad Women's Anatomy. Every pothole starts when it's small. Story of a pothole from an account called Become Alpha Male. I don't think this is about a pothole. After many cars run through it, it grows. Then suddenly, the car starts avoiding it. That's it. We all know what this is referring to, right? Potholes that magically get bigger the more cars go over them. So think about potholes. The bigger the pothole, the more damage it can cause to a tyre. The metaphor doesn't work, does it? It's because it's not true anyway. Oh God. I forgot how much I love making this video. This is on Hinge. I'm convinced that the clitoris is a myth. Well, you're an idiot. Apparently this is what AI thinks a uterus looks like. Imagine uterus. Why does it look like it's got fingers and intestines inside it? This doesn't shock me. It's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable, and it looks a bit like a cordyceps clicker zombie from The Last of Us. But I'm not surprised because I feel like AI is very skewed to the cis white straight man, and perhaps this is what the cis white straight man thinks a uterus looks like. I think many of them don't even know what a uterus is. So are we surprised that AI doesn't get it right? No. Oh, that is quite the back arch. One, I don't think, unless you have like remarkable flexibility, I don't think that, here's me trying to bend my spine backwards, I don't think that is physically possible. And even if it were physically possible, it looks incredibly uncomfortable, and like perhaps balancing would not be great. I mean, that candle looks like it's just gonna go boop The vagina is counted as 2 holes. Since inside there's one for sex and the other for urine, it still comes out of the same hole in the end, but semantics. Well, this is a classic on Bad Women's Anatomy, that there is just one hole that everything comes out of. I'm convinced that some men think that women poop out of the same hole as well. Eat 1 teaspoon every night, see what happens a week later. Stop doing this. Why are they all stood like that? They look like the candle. Like, no, that just doesn't happen. What are you doing? So many men have clearly never seen a woman up close in their whole lives. This is why Disney is about to lose $300 million. Oh, because a woman has a little bit of hair on her back. God forbid a woman has hair on her body. Oh my goodness, the drama, the shock, the horror. I don't get this whole thing about like women must be hairless. No. Oh yeah, this is like the official thing from the White House when Trump was wanting to be all transphobic, like in the way they define female, is female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. The thing is, this does mean that everybody is now considered female, because at conception, all fetuses start off like typically female, and it's not until later that developmental trajectories change and differ. So yeah, Trump said everybody's a woman. When a woman has a child, the DNA stays in our uteruses forever, and sometimes a child from a different father can get a little of that.
Oh yes, look at Timothy. Is 50% is mothers and 90% father ones and 10% father twos.
What? Where does this come from? Hold on, wait, is that trying to say that baby Timmy would get a little bit of the DNA from the first baby or the previous baby to him, or all the previous babies to him, or of previous people that Timmy's mum has slept with? I don't know, it's just like a little DNA smorgasbord in there. Smorgasbord. It's like little DNA tapas in there. A friend of mine who works in labour and delivery says when the husband winks at the doctor to add an extra stitch in a woman after she gives birth, she stares at the husband absolutely deadpan and says, "How small are you?" A-star response, because who the frick is asking for an extra stitch? Like, and they'll all be like, "It's a joke, it's just a joke." It's not a joke. It's misogynistic and it's shitty behaviour. She's just given birth to your baby, sir, and you are joking about making her downstairs tighter for you. What is wrong with you? Please grow up and gain some respect. And this is absolutely the perfect response of like, if you feel like you require an extra stitch, why is that? Why? Because although there is nothing wrong with having a small penis, often men who are like this will be made to feel incredibly insecure if the size of their penis is questioned. You can tell a girl's obese based on her voice, because that big ol' extra chin literally makes your voices sound deeper. Don't work the other way round. I feel like some people are just trying to find any excuse to be derogatory in any way that they feel is derogatory and like put people down. What? Why do I do this to myself? OMG! As a nurse, I can't even tell you how many men were shocked that urinary catheters indeed are not placed in the vagina. Yes, there are 3 holes. The vagina is all the holes, you ignorant fool. Is this someone who thinks people poop out their vaginas? The vagina is the whole area in the crouch. In the crouch? Do they mean the crotch? In the crouch. When you crouch down, it's the vagina. Including all of the holes. That is what they taught us in sex ed in school, and I will believe a teacher over some idiot on the internet. Who is this teacher? Where did they get their qualifications? Where did your sex ed video come from? I feel like it was perhaps, maybe your parents made it. I don't know, because they clearly didn't teach you any different. The audacity to one, this is from a man, must be. I am 100,000% convinced this is a man commenting. So one, you are like mansplaining the anatomy of a cis woman, and 2, you're doing that to a nurse who puts in urinary catheters as part of their job, and you're trying to give them an anatomy lesson. Really? Try saying an anatomy lesson. It's quite fun. An anatomy. Let me know in the comments if you do that. Oh my God. How would one go about achieving this look is what this post is called. Well, this is AI if ever I did see AI. I too would be shooketh if this happened to my legs. How would one put trousers on? I mean, this leg, the one that's showing more, is that like an extra finger just coming out the jacket, not attached to that? If you didn't already know it was AI. This leg almost looks like it could be okay. I mean, it's still quite far off, but the bend in the lower leg is just not the one. The length of the leg compared to the body, not the one. The knee joint looks relatively dodge, and that ankle should probably be broken. The other leg, though, is like kind of leggish on the bottom, like just this boop boop, like a leg. But what's going on above here? It's like it's got an extra joint. This leg has 2 knees. What another unattainable body expectation for women. You have any kids? Yes. What happened to my yes? Yes. Yes, I have 1 daughter. How about you? How many baby daddies do you have, if you don't mind me asking? I have 1 daughter. What? 1? I understand that. Is she by the same father? I don't understand. Is she by the same father? Obviously, we all know, because we have some brain cells here, right? We all know that that is not possible. However, if it were, if we were living on some alternate reality where babies could actually have multiple fathers, right? Why would it matter? Like, why would it still, why would you ask the question? Like, to me, this is wrong on so many levels. 1, just like wrong, factually wrong. And 2, just like overly invasive of like, it's fair if you're wanting to date somebody to be like, do you have kids? Like, and like exchanging that information. But really weird to, even if someone has multiple children, to be like, oh, and how many fathers would that be? It's overstepping. It's a bit invasive. I feel like that's information that somebody would offer to you. Absolutely entirely dumb if somebody's like, have 1 child. Ladies, if his aubergine made you start your period early, lower your voice when talking to him. Somebody actually called this post, I regret learning how to read. This makes me feel really uncomfortable. Why is he sitting in such a tiny chair? Do you think he is a very tall man? Or has he just got a child's chair to make it look like he's a very tall man? You know, like the equivalent of putting socks in your underwear, but for your height. I'm particularly uncomfortable by the like lower your voice when talking to him bit. Is that supposed to imply like be submissive, like quieten yourself? Because that's what's coming across. And that's very, very not okay. Men who are scared of period sex are not mentally or emotionally equipped to have sex, period. I never understood the repulsion, like it's already gross down there on a good day. Is it straight if you find... Is this guy straight? I do feel like that's very much a product of whatever environment this guy's been brought up in, of like it being reinforced to him that it's gross down there. Like, it's quite a misogynistic trope. And it's like,
Yeah, who gives a shit about period sex? It's no grosser than it normally is.
please don't do this. Did you know women also have organisms? YouTube would not like the actual word. Not if I'm involved. What? Of course they don't, lol. Sperm is something that only men have. If women could organism, then they wouldn't need a man, as then they can just impregnate themselves, lol. Wait, are you joking? If not, come back to this comment in a couple of years once you've had a sex ed class, kid. Lol. Yes, the myth of women having the big O, right? Somebody with like their full chest has just been like, not if I'm involved. This will not happen if I'm there. Like, way to go announcing that you are terrible in bed. I do feel like this other commenter potentially has not had that lesson yet and doesn't know what the word means properly. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Sponsored content. Eat 1 teaspoon. What is it with eating 1 teaspoon every night? Of what, Barbara? See what happens in a week. Cardiologist. How to quickly lose a hanging belly. Why would a cardiologist be involved with losing a hanging belly? But also, what's up with a hanging belly? Yes, if you eat 1 teaspoon a night, I don't know for how long or what of, but you too will go from this tummy on the left to this tummy on the right with absolutely nothing else changing, because we all know that losing fat and gaining fat is very selective and you can choose the areas. Every job you just mentioned has women working in each of those fields. Welding is another profession with a high amount of women. Pull your head out of your ass, or do you need a woman to help? There are no women wading in sewers because the feces would get into their vaginas and they die of septic shock. You need a man to explain how your own body works. I don't want to do this anymore. What a creative way to come up with saying that women cannot have certain jobs. If you actually believe that, where is your logic in what happens to the urethra and the butthole? Because cis men have those. They are openings that things can get into, you know? So why would the sewage not go up there? Warm feet equals warm womb. So important for women's reproductive health. I cannot stress this enough. Always keep your feet warm. That sounds like one of those old wives' tales, you know, like natural remedy things that's been passed on down generations but doesn't actually work. Some natural remedies do have like evidence backing them up for doing something, but what is this? Warm feet, it's actually a search. Warm feet, warm womb. There's no scientific proof that warm feet directly translate to a warm uterus, but apparently in some traditions keeping warm feet is associated with a healthy uterus, good blood flow, and potentially aiding in fertility. But there's no evidence for it. Do you know, there is no harm. If you feel like you want to boost your fertility a little and you're trying all lots of different things, then why not keep your feet warm? It's just not scientifically evidenced, and I don't think it's even described typically in the way that this person has described it. So important. Yes. Theory of females. All humans have cockerels. Females get their cockerels sucked inside while they're in the womb a few months before birth. Yes, here, meet my twin, Henry Hoover. So theoretically, if girls believed in themselves, they can potentially activate their lost penises and pull them out, then suck them back at command like a flesh pocket knife. I am highly disturbed right now. The comments are just like, what? Where the kind of slight little bit of factual thing in here, very slight, is that all fetuses start off the same, as we discussed earlier with the White House memo thing, and the clitoris and the penis are homologous structures. So this means that they share a lot of similarities and a lot of developmental similarities, but they just go in slightly different trajectories. And honestly, if you look at like a diagram of all of the kind of externally visible and internal elements of both, you can really see the similarities. And it's why like trans men who get metoidioplasty basically end up with something that really just looks like a small penis, right? And there's everything down there that you need to create that visual appearance, right? You just can't pee out of it unless you get an additional element to the surgery. So like they're really similar things, that one is just bigger than the other and has a tube through it. Like other than that, they very much function in the same way. Okay, so technically all humans have little penises and it's just the size that differs. And then it goes very wrong where it's like gets sucked back inside. No, this does not happen. It just does not grow on the same trajectory, and it has a slightly different developmental path. And certainly the number one difference is size, and then tubing and testicles. Yeah, okay, right. That's nonsense. Egg cells are produced by your mother every month, but for sure not before she is in her puberty. Ha 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 ha. Please tell me you are kidding and don't actually think that. Did you really try to correct a woman on her on her anatomy? A woman is born with all the eggs she will ever get. A woman's egg count declines slowly over her life. Dude, at least try and think before you sleep. Before you sleep. I'm tired. Before you speak, maybe just try to think generally in life. Yeah, egg cells are not produced every month. They are like, there is an egg released. People with ovaries, with eggs, are born with the maximum number they will ever have, and they deplete throughout life. And then after 30, as I mentioned earlier in the video with that awful starting post that we had, they deplete a little bit quicker. Saggy chest means poor posture and misalignment. It's actually a deformity. We all got it though. That's why it's deemed a normal transformation to the female body, but it's not. It's a health issue. Someone's never seen a real pair in their life, I see. It's the truth though. Misalignment causes one side of the body to sag, and it can even cause the vag to stick out. Women are supposed to have innie vags. The world just makes deformity tolerable. I'm not tolerable of this person. It's just all elaborate and really bizarre excuses that I'm not saying this person has come up with, but they've heard from another person who's come up with it, to put women down, to degrade women, to tell women how their bodies should be, to give women like these unattainable standards of how they should look. And clearly somebody has just gotten all of their anatomy information from very specific, potentially edited corn on the internet. Lovely little bit of corn on the cob. Miss America forgot to shave his pits for the big day. Jesus Christ. I would never have even noticed if somebody didn't leave a comment that made me look. It is the tiniest little bit of stubble. How is that in any way? Oh, like, sorry that she didn't epilate her freaking armpits. You try doing that, mate. Of course, a tiny little bit of visible armpit stubble means you are a man now. Great. One of life's great mysteries. How is it a woman can fit an 8-inch vibrator into her 1-inch fanny? It's been a long time since I've heard that word that isn't in name. In the dark, but she's unable to fit a 13-foot car into an 18-foot parking space in broad effing daylight. So was this just like a really roundabout way to diss women's as a collective driving ability and be like,
All women are shit drivers.
and I am going to prove this with a metaphor about vibrators. Right, let's just say that you did see a woman who couldn't park a 13-foot car into an 18-foot parking space in daylight. There's a big difference between the two things you've described and people's ability at doing them. It's okay if people struggle with spatial awareness in a car, and they can be of any gender, okay? This feels like a really intentional degrading of women. Like, of course you can get the vibrator in, but not the car. Awful women. This is a Facebook post. Somebody just posted this publicly. Why are they not embarrassed? Leg shapes, front view, the bone structure forms a Y. What the hell? What the hell? Side view, the silhouette of the leg forms an S. It's a bit exaggerated, of course, but it's a good way to remember the rhythm of the legs. The rhythm of the legs. Is that like the side view of a lung in the top of number 2? And why does like the pelvis in 2 look like the xenomorph from Alien? That is literally its head. This person has taken some very strong creative license for drawing this. I feel like this is a guide to drawing like a specific style of cartoon characters, but would not be great for actually anatomically correct drawings of people. I do not think the femur bone does that. No. Valentine's Day confidence. Discover the science behind old woman smell and stay fresh for your younger partner. I very naively initially thought that that was just like a perfume, but I don't think it's I don't think it's that. I don't think old woman smell is a thing.
When she's old, she's stinky. Everything gets a bit more gross.
See, that's what the guy who was like not grossed out by period sex because he just finds vaginas gross generally would say. It's like,
Oh, yeah, and older women, fine. It's gross anyway. Young, old, whatever.
oh, what is that shape? I mean, that looks like a very, very, very advanced pregnancy, but there is literally like just flatness above the pregnant belly, which looks very low, and it looks like they've copied the belly onto the bum. They're the same thing. Just okay, so I'm not going to show the top half of this. It's a tattoo. It's a little bit like potentially revealing. It's probably okay, but I don't want to risk it. But the bottom half of the legs and the fishnet looks like 2 trash cans because of the shape. Why not continue the legs? Why don't you just cut the legs off like that? It legit looks like a little trash can symbol on your computer, right? And why are the legs so vastly different? So different in size. And like one has like this really big curve from the body and one is just like straight down from the body. Somebody got that tattooed on them forever. Oh dear. Sorry ladies, but some of you failed. Proof you failed as a woman. Is that a cesarean scar? Do you know any guy who would like this, laugh at it, retweet it, agree with it? I really wish you could just wake up and suddenly be pregnant and then have to give birth out of your brand new vagina. You can go back to being a cis man the day after, but that would just be nice. I feel like that would be a really great learning moment for these types of men. Like, just go do it yourself. And although that is not possible, what we could do is hook them up to those machines that like simulates the pain. Do you know what it should be all about? One, freedom of choice about what you want to do with your body. First and foremost for the woman, freedom of choice. And then also like what is medically safe? Because for some people, it is not safe for them to have a vaginal birth. And they should not be doing that. And then other times, it's not safe for the baby for there to be a vaginal birth. And a cesarean is the safest option for either the person carrying the baby or the baby themselves or both. And to say that that would be a failure when literally if it would not done, people would have died. Bit shit, isn't it? Yeah. So you go whoosh a baby out of your vagina if you think this. Oh my God, what is that? This is very not appropriate. What is Mario doing there? It looks like Peach is giving birth to Mario and it's like his head's just come out. Oh my God. Somewhere there is a guy getting stressed out by a female whose vagina looks like this. I can't anymore. I don't think I can do this. Initially, this may not look problematic. I mean, I don't think this one is problematic, especially not compared to the other things. But what's going on with those toes? How long would these toes toes be, right? And it looks like the arch of the foot is hanging out of the high heel. I just don't think they would stay on. They just would not be comfortable or walkable. What is this? What is this? Why are the legs like that? Why is there a bend up there? This looks like it's somebody maybe like sat on a table, and this where it bends down is the knee joint, and then the trouser legs go way further down, but what they've done is got rid of the table. And I'm more inclined to believe that because of the position of the hand, but still, like, to edit out the table and make it seem like this person is standing up. Damn, that looks interesting. Okay, and on that very wonderful note, we are done. Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of Bad Women's Anatomy, and don't forget to go click the link in the description box to check out Balasa for yourself. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. I think I said that already. Think about giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, and you can go check out my Patreon as well if you want to support me over there, but no pressure. Night Soul, Sugar Joe, Jill B, Eldon K, Nesta, The Third Hat Man, Jaden Cricket, and Max Makes Mods. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.